All right, I got one for you tonight. This is the 5080. We're going to be looking at it specifically at path tracing at 4K. So right here we have everything maxed out and we're on DLAA with path tracing. Obviously this is not going to work. We're at 22 FPS. So how do we fix this? Let's jump into the settings and do a little upscaling. That's going to be the first order of business tonight, is go ahead and just get rid of the DLAA native. Let's go up to some upscaling. So let's jump back down to quality. Right here I do have my reflex plus boost turned on. It'll keep the clocks a little higher, make sure that we get a nice PCL. So let's jump into here. Speaking of PCL, we're at about 38 milliseconds now with 44 FPS. So the main thing I want to check out though is that frame time graph is dead flat. This new driver is working out really well so far. 45 FPS and you know, a very flat frame time graph, not a stutter to be found. We were in this area last week, I believe, and we had the .71 driver and there were still significant stutters. So this is the .76 driver, released as a hotfix. I'll drop the driver link down there in the section below, in the description below. But yeah, if you wanted to grab that driver, do so directly from NVIDIA and get it downloaded. You can also, I believe, just use the beta mode in the NVIDIA app too. So let's just jump into it here. So 45, 44 FPS here. So we need to probably go to balanced at least. I'm going to see if that does it for us here. So let's go over to balanced. All right, so we're on balanced. Everything else was left the exact same. That gives us 54, 55 FPS here and a PCL of 37 milliseconds. So right here, I'm not really worried anymore about PCL. Right now, I just want to keep my frames above 60 all of the time, preferably. All right, so you could do two things. You could sacrifice the image quality a little bit and just go to performance, which it still looks really, really good. Or you could sacrifice a little bit of your post-compute latency and frame generate. We have room on our PCL. This game does not require anything more than about, you know, 50 to 60 milliseconds of response time. In my opinion, it's not a really fast-paced game at all, especially Grace. But yeah, we are looking really good here as far as either of those options. So let's check out that option first. Let's just kick on some frame generation and see what that does with our PCL, and see what we can expect once we do kick on just a 2x. It's going to automatically enable the latency feature, the reflex plus boost anyway, so it's just good. I just leave it on. All right, yeah, so that gives us 96 FPS, so no longer worried about the frames, and we have a PCL of 44 milliseconds. All right, so that kind of checks all the boxes to me. I mean, I don't think you need anything more than that. I'm obviously going to explore performance without frame gen, and then with it, we're going to get in a few things here, but the main thing is that you are able to absolutely run this game at 4K with path tracing now and have a very smooth experience. This area, particularly on my last test before the driver update, was very, very stuttery. Man, I just love this gun. Just like, it is amazing. All right, so yeah, let's just keep on rolling through it here and see what we can expect. All right, let's see if that dude's in here. I think he's gone. Yeah, I think I took care of him. But yeah, we are looking really good. All right, so 100 FPS here in the kitchen. No stutters. I did want to take a moment to address. Look at that path tracing though. Looks good, don't it? Looks very nice on that floor. I did want to address the frame tearing. So I have to record these at 60 because YouTube is locked at 60. So you're going to get frame tearing on, you know, any performance video because I don't want to artificially limit the numbers for you guys. So just keep that in mind. You're going to get frame tearing on my videos. There's nothing I can really do about it, but you know, once you jump into your own game, you can just enable some vertical sync and you'll be good to go. But yeah, right here we are looking really good as far as PCL and overall performance. So let's jump over and go down to a performance upscale just to see what we can expect with that and not the frame generation as another option. All right, so performance is on, frame generation is off. We're going to jump down here and keep on going. So that gives us obviously less overall frames, but it's still over 60 pretty pretty fairly over 60. You might dip down here and there, but over 60 all of the time for the most part. And your PCL is at 29 milliseconds. So if you just really don't want to use frame generation, you could go into the upscaling route and do it this way. One other thing that I do want to point out, though, is that on Ultra Performance, this game gets a little bit of a softness that fits its eerie vibe, and I really do like it. I've mentioned it in a few of my other videos on this particular game, but Ultra Performance gives you a ton of performance, and it gives us this really cool, soft look that, I don't mean to go in there, that gives it just this like classic horror vintage vibe. And you know, I've played a lot of this game actually on Ultra Performance even when I didn't need to. So this gives you over 100 FPS, and your PCL is at 19 milliseconds with no frame generation at all. And like I said, it just gives it this slight blur that works so well with like the desaturated tones and hues of the whole game. It really does hit home to me as like a 70s, 80s horror movie that I'm playing through versus like just a game that I want to look perfect, you know. So that's just my own personal take on it, but I just wanted to show you guys that because I think it looks pretty cool. But right here on path tracing with no frame generation at all on Ultra Performance, 9800 FPS in this area, and dead flat frame time graph, very, very smooth. All right, so let's check out a few other things for the folks who really just want the highest quality image. Let's come and see what let's go see what a balance setting looks like with that 2x and see what that does for us. All right, so that'll give you about 93 over 90 FPS, and your PCL is at around 44 or 44 milliseconds there. So again, this is another setting where you don't have to go to performance. You can just go straight away to balance with a 2x. All right, so if you do want to make it look even better, even though balanced looks great too, they're both on the K model, so it all looks good. Now you're going to get this warning. I think the game freaks out a little bit at this point, personally. Quality upscale doesn't give you enough VRAM back to then bring in frame generation, because when I remove frame generation, it's like, okay, we're good now. But if we look at my actual monitor over here, it's not going to be spilling over at all. I just think that's the game being overly cautious. But right here, with reflex boost turned on, your PCL is around 58 milliseconds, and you're able to run quality with a 2x, and you've got 80 FPS, 75 FPS, something like that. So you know, you do have options. I personally really like Ultra Performance with just no frame gen. I think it's fine. But performance with a little frame gen would probably be my preference if I did not like the softness that it gives it with Ultra Performance. But like I said, that's just a stylistic personal choice of mine. Let's go over here and have a little fun with some 4X. I just want to see what it does on quality with 4X. This is what I did on my 5070 Ti video, and it can get pretty insane. But yeah, 150 FPS here. And your PCL is still within the ballpark of highly playable. I mean, you're still around 50 milliseconds with 146 FPS here with a 4X. Now, the only place that I do see any sort of ghosting would be around her hair. All right, so Grace's hair, I've got the hair mod, or not the hair mod, but the better looking hair turned on. Again, this is completely maxed out. And it does give it a little bit of a ghosting effect, especially out here. I'm running out here for a reason. This dark area, you can really see it against that like contrast of that darkness in there. So I would probably not run 4X. As you can see there, it's really bad. But I would probably not run 4X. I just like to see what it'll do. All right, so how would I play this at this particular setting? I would probably use Ultra Performance still. I mean, I recommend it. I mean, that's kind of what I recommended as a personal preference on my 5070 Ti video. And you still don't need a 5080 if you got a 5070 Ti if you're going to run it this way. It was still plenty of frames. You got a 21 millisecond PCL. It looks super cool with that little bit of just slight blur that it just happens to give it. It just looks really good. So I would run it just like this with no frame gen and be perfectly happy. Another way you could probably run it would just be a performance upscale, and that would be fine as well. It should keep it above, I think we've already kind of looked at it, but it should keep it above 60 most of the time on a performance upscale, and that'll get rid of any sort of blurriness. It still looks really good. And then again, you could just throw a little frame gen on top of this and have a really good experience as well. So we'll check that out real quick with just a 2X. I think that would be more than enough on this particular title. But yeah, this has been a hell of a week with these different drivers. I'm behind. I apologize. I'm going to keep going and eventually get through all of the cards, the NVIDIAs, the AMD, and then I have an Intel card, the 580 that I want to check out too. So, apologize. Just give me another week and I'll get around to it. But, if you like this kind of stuff, please also consider subscribing. I've also got a join button down there. I can't offer a whole lot right now. I hope to in the future because I'm a super busy dad. I'm just trying to get these videos done as quickly as I can. But any support also helps as well. So if you'd like to join, there's some options down there for you to check out if you want to. The best thing you can do, though, is just subscribe and watch my videos. That's going to help me out more than any sort of membership would. Nothing will ever be behind a paywall. I really appreciate all the support and love you guys are giving me. So with all that said, I'm going to probably try to wind up in a different area for the next test because we're kind of exhausting this area right here. And everyone have a great evening, and we'll see you in the very next video. Peace.